Hey, what's going on, guys? This is B from Kongs R Us. Welcome to the next level, and I got a very special guest with me in the house today. Vic VP, how you doing, man?
What's going on, B? How is everybody?
Good to see you guys, man. We got 25 people in the house that are already here for the Next Level Wiki. So if you guys are new to the show, this is a weekly podcast I've been doing for like the last 7 weeks or so, bringing you guys next level projects, community members that have really taken it to the next level. And man, Vic VP is the definition of next level. If you've seen his channel, please go check out Vic VP's channel. I left a link to his channel in the description. He's been at this for several years. You know, he's gotten bigger and bigger. And like, I remember following you when I was just starting off. I was like, man, this guy is crazy with the arcade customs that you do. I mean, like, and you're beyond one-ups. And like my biggest community base is like the Arcade1Up modding community, but you're into like real arcades, bar tops, custom cabs, Vpin. Is there anything you don't do? Like, let me just ask you that first to start off.
There's a couple of things that are actually like coming up pretty soon. I'm working on like a guy with CNC machines. So right now you got you hit the main. I mean, arcade stuff, yes. I'm doing it's a big project coming up soon with a new 4-player big cabinet I'm going to be making. And then the last thing I haven't touched yet is driving sim, and I am working on that too. It's going to be I'm contacting a company called DOF. It is the actual
the driving sim, DOF reality. Holy crap, man! All right,
I've been talking to him, so.
All right, let me get to that. But first off, we got a lot of folks in chat. I want to say hello to some folks. I got Your Average Gamers here. George A is here. Hollywood Polo is here. How's it going, guys? I see Adrian Mitchell is here. Bumbo Clarts. We got international folks that are in the house, man. So hello. If you guys have questions, please drop them into the chat. Brian Gwenther, he's been one of the one of my biggest supporters. So feel free to drop in, questions that you have in the chat, things you want me to ask. I'm going to try to catch up with chat as much as possible. But today's show, again, we'll probably go for about an hour. We have a lot to talk about. We might even go over an hour. Who knows?
Yeah.
But let me do the formal ask of letting you do a quick introduction to everybody on stream. So I mean, this is our first time chatting really live. We've communicated a lot through Messenger and things, but give me your quick rundown intro of who Vic VP is, what you're about, so that everybody can get to know you.
All right, cool. Well, first off, shout out B. Thank you, man. This is a big opportunity. I mean, like you said, we always talk on the Messenger, but this is big. So definitely shout out to you, because you are actually bringing it to little people like me, where we could get even broad it, expanded out and everything. So again, shout out to B. My name is Vic VP. I'm out here in New York. Basically been playing arcades all my life, 7 years now, working on hyperspin drives. Then it went up to Vpin. We got touchscreen things going on. I keep saying we in my videos, but it's only me. I am a one-man team. But unlike everybody else, we like modding, we like arcade games, and let's just have fun and play on.
That's right. Very cool. So Your Average Gamer says Vic VP is next level or Vic's pin is next level for real. Yes, we're gonna get to his pin for sure. I mean, I think all things that he does is great. But Bobby Vu's in the house.
Oh, Bobby.
Clean like a mother. Yeah.
Always.
It's always fun to see. So we got Vic. Good job there. I have one question here that I saw earlier about my shirt. Hollywood Polo, you like my shirt? Yeah, it's Optimus Prime as a DeLorean. Come on, man!
I never seen that. Oh
wow! I'm in some mashups whenever we can. Oh, I have that little DeLorean toy. I got to bring it out, the Transformer one. But this is an old mashup I got from T Fury back in the day when I was really into T-shirts and stuff. So I don't have any merch. Vic, do you have any Vic VP merch yet? Do you have T-shirts, nothing like that?
I honestly, it's actually funny you mentioned. I try not to wear logos and stuff. I definitely want to check out this T Fury you're talking about, because
they got good stuff. Yeah, cool. All right, well, if you ever do something, let me know. All right, but let's get into the meat of the today's topic. So I have been over the last 2 weeks modding my Arcade1Up Star Wars Pinball, and so the reason why I did that, I mean, a lot of people, the number one thing that people ask me is why did you buy a $600 Vpin cab just to gut it and mod it? But I have some very compelling reasons that $600 to start with everything that's in the cab is actually a really good deal. Because one of my questions to ask you is when you're doing a DIY kit, there's so many parts and components, and not only that, it's the time it takes for you to put everything together just to have a base model for it. So from there, an Arcade1Up gives you out of the box a 24-inch screen, at least a DMD, haptic feedback, and a very simple UI to play stuff. It's not the most intense thing in the world, but I mean, for $600 out of the box, just all the parts alone is freaking awesome. I have somebody that really wants to say hi. You want to say hi? What do you want to show him?
Was this the box that
he wanted to show off the DeLorean toy.
He found it.
He found a DeLorean toy. He was like, Dad, you just mentioned it. All right.
You know what's awesome though? It's cool that he bought that out, because you'd be surprised, toys like that, you could actually put that to a V pin. If you're going to do a Back to the Future theme pin, those are toppers, so you could definitely do some stuff with that. So
exactly. I've seen the toys that you have for Simpsons, man. Having those little things are pretty awesome. Now, but yeah, go ahead.
What you're saying, I like what you're saying. So yes, there's always going to be people going hey, why did you spend $600 if you know you're going to mod it? Although we don't, we are fans of Arcade1Up because we obviously buy the products, but there's always the negative of, I don't like it, the screens break. But in all honesty, we have to give them a shout out, because they bought back arcades. I mean, ever since they've hit the stores in Walmart, everybody now is getting really into the arcade side. You know, you get the older generation that are like, oh my God, I grew up on this. Let me buy this $500 Street Fighter cab. And, you know, for us, because we play around with it, $500 is a lot. But what you're saying, it makes sense. $600 just to get your feet off the ground.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense, especially when you're talking about any build, arcade and pinball. If you think about it, $600 right now, right next to you, I believe it plays like 5 tables?
10 tables, 10 pinball fix 3 tables. Like
10.
with
So
simple UI.
You know, like there's 2 different demographics. Some people want a simple plug and play, put it in. I don't want to hear about going into settings and going and changing, modifying things. So that's where we praise A1up.
Yeah.
Yes, some of the hardware is cheap and all that, but it's a plug and play setup. Now you get people that are like, hey, I want 10,000 tables or I want 10,000 arcade games. That's where you get into modding it.
Yep. So, I mean, here's my biggest compelling argument. So like for somebody that wanted to just buy a DIY kit, right? So the most comparable DIY kit that I've seen on the market is the Game Room Solutions 27-inch pin cap. And so if you look at this right here that I'm pulling up on screen, this is $300 for essentially just the shell of the CNC cut wood. It doesn't include the monitor, the legs, and all that stuff. Not even wrapped. So that's $300. So follow me while I go down this path. So you have $300 there. You add in graphics. It's already another $100. And then from here, you're talking about buttons and T-molding. So straight from DRS to get just the base graphics and buttons, it's already $450 from like, I think the cheapest kind of kit. And then you have to add legs, which legs and brackets are, again, can range, but say $50, maybe another $20 for the brackets. You're already at $500+. And then you got to get extra parts. You got to get the solenoids. And I'm going over parts that's already included in the Arcade1Up. So these solenoids are inside the Arcade1Up. They're 12-volt solenoids. There's 4 of them. That's already $9 each times 4. So that's $36. You got a plunger, which actually works inside. It's an analog plunger. It's like $20. So if you're looking at just parts alone in the Arcade1Up, you've already... If you're trying to buy it separately, you're already at $600 just in parts. And that's not including the monitors. You got to go out and find a 27-inch monitor, a DMD to drop into the Game Room Solution. So again, if you're trying to like start your DIY project and just buy those parts alone, not even a PC yet, right? It's already $600+ just to get to the same place Arcade1Up already gets you in a smaller form factor, given it's a 24-inch screen in the playfield right now. So it's a little bit smaller, but it's a beautiful looking cab personally, like in terms of the way they like actually design it. The legs are super sturdy. So that's my compelling argument. I was going to do like a little short video to do this comparison, and it might still, but people like, it's worth it, guys. If you want something that's like already prepackaged, and I said this in my last video, I'm a lazy modder. I'm not like Vic VP. I'm not like a Bobby. I don't want to be sawing my own wood. I want it like 75% of the way done, and then be able to mod it from there. So I mean, like that's a great price point, right? Like when you put it together like that, like for you, okay, my question for you then, how much have you put into like the base of your Vpin build? Because I know you keep adding to it, right? But so I'd love to hear from you, like what you've done with your cab in terms of cost.
So now real quick though, before I jump to that question, I'd rather address first your question about if it's worth it. So
yeah.
You know, try to think of it like I'm in New York, you know, Game Case Arcades, you'll find my ads on OfferUp, and I sell arcade cabinets and all that. The big thing that a lot of people don't really understand, and I'm talking in a way that when I sell a bar top versus selling a whole upright, you know, minus the size, you know, people also remember it depends on how much you're going to play this thing. So, you know, I got people that they spend $2,000 on an upright, they play it for a week, and then it's just collecting dust on the side. So going to like what you're saying, and I would say definitely get the A1up and make sure you play it. If it's going to be somewhere you play with it like one week and then that's it, then Vpin and the arcade game is not for you. That's where I would definitely say get the A1up, making sure that you will at least enjoy it and get your use out of it. Again, Vpin is totally different from arcades. You know, Metal Slug, Street Fighter. You got a whole bunch of genres, whereas Vpin, it's different. And I'll discuss like what I did with my Vpin. You know, hearing, like, for example, you have 10 tables. Now, to some people, it might be like 10 tables. That's like 10. What am I going to do with 10?
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people, when they walk up to a pinball machine, they think it's just a marble that you're hitting. Meanwhile, every table has a specific game to play. Like, there's actually objectives. So 10 tables might not sound like a lot, but in reality, it's like that one pinball machine, that one table, that will last you like 2 weeks just to get the objectives.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. You make a great point.
Definitely the A1up. The price point, like you're saying, is correct. Out of the box, it works. Use it. I mean, $600. I'm kind of shocked at that price range.
Solenoids. It has haptic feedback. It has an accelerometer. Like, it has an analog plunger. Like, and they programmed everything to work with 10 tables out of the box. Like,
I didn't know that. So, like, when you say accelerometer, does it actually notice the nudge?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's not great. Like, it takes a lot to like nudge it, but it worked. I mean, they built in an accelerometer. They built in an analog plunger using a magnetic sensor instead of like a analog like a sliding pot. But I'm like, yeah, I reused a lot of the base parts in my build too. So I reused all the stock solenoids. I reused the plunger. So I'm talking like parts alone. Even if you gutted it, it's worth $600 because the artwork is beautiful. The form, if you like 3/4 scale arcades, like, again, there's the biggest other pinball cabs on the market right now are At Games, Well Played Toys, and Toy Shock. Like, this 3/4 scale cab, I think personally is the best looking one. Like, the trim on it, the size, the form factor of it looks fantastic in my 3/4 scale arcade. Like, I have Arcade1Ups all over the place, and it looks exactly like it should next to that arcade. So if you,
I do like it. I mean, it looks good. I've only seen pictures of the Toy Shock, and I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, it's terrible next to it.
It was so. You're right. Like, it does. I mean, and seeing it from the side, it looks like they actually have a lockdown bar on the front of it.
Let me pull up my little side cam. You can kind of see a little bit more of it too. So this
I've been watching your videos, which is I haven't really seen it. That when you said accelerometer, I didn't even realize that there was. Although yes, just like Arcade1Ups, you might have to modify pieces, but at least it's getting you in the game. At least it's like getting your feet wet. But I do see
metal bars.
Lockdown. Yeah, that's a lockdown bar.
It's metal right here. Like the legs are super sturdy too. There's chrome trim on the back. I mean, I placed the monitor, but it comes with 2 speakers and the DMD. Like, and again, it came with the DMD that was already programmed. That's just HDMI. So I was able to reprogram that, plug into a PC, simple. So, I mean, the quality of the actual monitors themselves weren't the best. Even the stock 24-inch monitor, like it looked washed out. Even when I play it currently with the DMD, it looks really washed out compared to the rest of the screens. So, I mean, they had to take like at least some concessions on the quality of things, but again, out of the box, for somebody who's casually into Vpin, that's my biggest assessment. Like, this was built for the casual Vpin person that happens to be a fan, because it's introducing Vpin to the mass market. Like, Vpin has been such a small community for people that did it themselves or played Pinball FX3 on like a console or something. Like, this is now becoming mainstream. So people doing this is really going to open the doors for people getting into the hobby, which you dived into hardcore. Like, what made you want to get into Vpin in the first place?
I'll be honest, I probably seen, and I should have sent a link to it. There's one guy, I don't know his exact location. It's overseas. On YouTube, it's Oliver, Oliver. You know, Vpins I've seen, like I've seen pictures of it. It's just, I wanted like the feedback. I've seen videos of it, and I was like, I gotta have it. So it's kind of cool. Like we were saying, you got FX3. You know, it's Zen Studios. They make great stuff, but if you ask like an actual pinball enthusiast, they don't play Zen. Zen is kind of childish. It's kind of kiddish. It's not the real stuff. But it, like you said, it gets your feet wet. I mean, you have a young kid next to you. You have, you know, your son. You have your kids. You know, at least they kind of could get into the game and enjoy pinball. You know, so when it does get into Vpin, though, the big thing that we have to keep in mind is that there are a lot of people we have to shout out. You know, when you get into like VPX, like Visual Pinball, you get into Future Pinball. These are actual people, like no-name people, just replicating tables.
Yeah, you know, spending all that time.
It takes a lot of time, and so I give them a big shout out and a big kudos for just the people that make the tables. And what's pretty cool now is that people are still working on old tables. Like, for example, I did the Simpsons Pinball Party. That's a real pinball machine. and there's people still updating the table, meaning they might get new scans and they make it 4K. So there's a lot of work to it. So I do give a big shout out to the virtual pinball community, which is what we have to keep in mind, is that there are people that making these tables and making it enjoyable, honestly.
Cool. No, there's definitely a big difference between like when you get to real like pinball emulation like VPX and Future Pinball versus what Zen is doing. So I appreciate that. Like there's something for everybody in the market. Like I think my introduction to virtual pinball was Zen, and so I have an affinity just because I like the name brand tables that are, at least I like the brand names that they're not real pinball tables, but they're like, oh, it's a Star Wars theme pinball game, right?
Yeah, not to mention like with Zen, like for example, your Star Wars theme, like who thought of actually adding animated characters to the playfield? It's like, it's mind-boggling. It's pretty cool to see.
It makes it fun. It makes it bring it to a casual level. So that's why, I mean, with this cab, since it was, built by Zen and Arcade1Up, cool. That's why my goal was really to make it a dedicated Pinball FX3 table. So
that's fine.
And my biggest, like, quote unquote complaint early on when people saw me first open it was that like the quality of the original tables, though, if you didn't know, there's so many platforms you can play Pinball FX3, was an Android based version, and it was only 720p. So the quality of the actual gameplay, even though everything played well, the hardware, the nudge, everything was great, the visuals of the cab of what they could produce with their PCB wasn't what I was used to, because I've already played the PC version, right? Because if you go from HD and then you go backwards, I was like, there's no way I'm going to leave this stock because of like I've already played it. But if there's somebody who's brand new, who's never played Zen Pinball before, and this was their first time, they'd be like mind blown. So I think there's a market for everybody. And if you want just those tables, that's great. But if you really want to maximize having like a nice dedicated FX3 table, like I'd highly recommend, following what I'm doing. Also, Cool Toy was doing.
He just made a thing now.
He did a part 1, part 2 about modding his Arcade1Up, but I think he's actually going further down the road of adding other tables like VPX and Future Pinball into his Arcade1Up. Versus, I want to keep it strictly Pinball FX. I want to keep it simple, because if you, I'm talking a lot, but a lot of Arcade1Up folks that are getting pinballs and are thinking about getting multiple pinball tables, you have one pinball table to rule them all. So you spent all your money and all your time and effort into this amazing all-in-one cab. But a lot of A1up builder like arcades like myself, we want multiple arcades. I'm going to be having multiple pinball machines in my mini arcade. So I don't want to build like multiple cabs that have the same things. I want them dedicated to certain things. So I think it makes sense if you have a goal in mind, if you know that you're getting an At Games Legends pinball and an Arcade1Up, like I like really consider how you would split that up, and don't do the same thing you would on each one. Like, and that's why for people that do mods and with multi-cades and pies, like it doesn't make sense to have like multi-cades on every single machine. You want them kind of dedicated to the controls or a theme or something like that to that effect. So that's what I'm doing with my cabs, and do plan to get into Future Pinball FX. I like that. But I'm so confused. So there's VPX, there's Pinball X, there's Visual Pinball. They kind of mean different things, but they kind of mean the same thing, don't they? Like, give me some schooling on the basics of what I need to do next, because I've only been involved with FX3. Like, what do I need to do to get to that next level of like Visual Pinball to like Future Pinball?
So the big thing, like definitely like what you said before, awesome. So the big thing right now, like your mindset is FX3.
Yep.
Like you don't care about anything else but FX3. And I think honestly, especially with the people that are watching and the people that are starting pinball, FX3 is definitely a starting point. I feel like if you jump into VPX, it's like going from beginner level to expert level. So definitely cool stuff like that. So FX3, FX2, Zen Studios, I think they came out like, I don't know, 5 years ago. Meanwhile, Future Pinball and VPX, or I should say Visual Pinball, has been out for years. So Visual Pinball, it's really VP. Visual Pinball is an emulator, just like how we have MAME emulator and all that. So Visual Pinball is one emulator, and then you got Future Pinball, which is another emulator.
So what's VPX then? Maybe that's my biggest question. Whenever I see VPX, is that just a short for Visual Pinball?
Yeah, so VP, anytime you see VP is Visual Pinball, and through the years, and I wrote it in our group, in the Facebook group, I don't bother with Future Pinball. VPX is the current Visual Pinball. So if you kind of remember way back when I first started arcade emulation, there was VP9 or even VP8. So it's Visual Pinball 8. And basically every year they upgraded. So it went from 8 to 9.
Oh.
Now, yeah, VPX is Visual
VP10.
Pinball. Yeah, there you go. It's VP10.
It's like iPhone X. Like, okay, this is me just being really stupid because I'm like new to the VP pinball game, and I keep seeing VPX that people keep saying it's like Visual Pinball, but I'm like, where the hell does the X come from?
Yeah, it's 10. You're right. Yes, it's 10.
I feel 10. Really dumb, but at the same time, like,
you wouldn't realize it.
Into this hobby, like the knowledge that people have for VPin is super crazy. So I mean, like, you've been diving in, learning it yourself. But yeah, start telling me about kind of where you're at with your cab. Like, what was the scope of what your goal was when you built Simpsons? And you know, give me the little story of kind of how you got there, and then let's walk over to your cab. I want to start showing off the goodies.
I got you. So originally started with Visual Pinball. I mean, again, VP9. You're talking maybe 2 years ago. VPX is like, I would say about 2 years old. So VP9 was very big, and if we have time for it, it's kind of like when people want to go into pinball. For example, like you're saying, your stock A1up monitor, I don't know how many hertz that thing has. So the big thing when you're getting starting, and if you're going into PC builds, you got to kind of ask yourself, are you doing a 1080p build or are you doing 4K? So VP9 was very big with 1080p. But now VPX, VP10, it introduced 4K, but also does 1080p. So everybody's doing VPX on it. So I originally was growing up on like the original, like old school VP9 1080p stuff. But when I built my cab, I knew I wanted 4K. That's like the now. I wanted now and basically future proofing it.
That's what Mike Libedinsky is saying it here. He says, bottom line, if you get into this, you will be going 4K with real VPin, and the hobby is never ending with always new improvements and features. And it's only been like the last 5-6 years, right, that people have really been like having so many resources to this. It's pretty new in the whole scope of things. But
I feel like now, like currently, like the year or two that passed, I feel like VPin just like skyrocketed. Especially now getting into like hard details. So for example, you could do a 1080p. He made a good point. 1080p though does have higher refresh rate. I believe you could hit 144 hertz, which that's my plan for my next pin. Is I'm going to go a little bit smaller, and I'm going to try to do 144 hertz, where I heard it's unrealistic, it's insane. Whereas 4K right now, I believe it clocks out at 60 hertz. So you know, hertz matters when you're talking about ball travel. You'll see ghosting if you don't have that powerful of a PC or really the screen. So I knew I wanted 4K. So the first thing I did was I had to find a TV. There's no monitor really. There might be now. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a monitor that goes past like 32 inches that could, you know, hold it. So I started out first. I said, you know what? I want to do VPin and I wanted 4K, but I didn't want to do a small cab. I wanted to try to replicate a real pinball cabinet. So went on Google. First thing I did, I looked up, it was called a Williams wide body cabinet. It's a real pinball cabinet made by Williams. It's either Williams or Bally. I might be wrong on one of them. Basically, I got the dimensions from that. When you see the dimensions of it, the play field, it hit a 49-inch TV.
Wow, nice.
So a real Bally's wide body pin, like a real pinball machine, it matched a 49-inch screen. So I said, okay, cool. Granted, I have to make it wider to hold the screen. You know what I mean? The length of it was 49 inches, but I had to basically extend it about maybe 4 inches out. So my main objective was I wanted to replicate a real pinball machine.
So your size is like pretty much full size pinball.
Yeah. If I put a Bally's wide body next to my pinball machine, it will match perfectly. Even the back box, I did everything straight.
Did you measure it and cut it yourself, or did you use like a CNC you get a kit? You did everything yourself?
No. So I did everything myself, which I was kind of scared about. You know, I like my fingers, but in all honesty, just taking my only main tool was a circular saw.
Oh, damn.
That was it. Circular saw, and it was it.
You guys ready to see it? You guys ready to see Vic VP's bin? Let's go add it in. Gonna add it to the stream now. All right, Vic VP's getting there. Here we go.
Here we go. In 3,
2,
1.
Boom. There he is. There he is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
50-inch
Dude, how tall are you? Can you hear me? Like, how tall are you compared to like your VPin?
So
like,
I'm height-wise, figure like
Okay. Damn. Okay.
And
That's
again, it's using real pinball hardware. So I have real pinball legs. So BigBox compared to a real Williams body, my body, is
oh my
the same
god.
exact height.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. So he's almost 6 feet, guys. And so the height of
Almost
that.
6 feet. You could probably call it maybe 6.5 feet tall. I mean, if you're adding like my Simpsons topper toys, maybe at 7 feet. I think it's at 70 inches if I block it out.
All right, look, all these chats are just like, wow, insane. Wow, it's bigger than him. Go bigger, go home.
So that they see it. And don't worry. Big thing again, I have a 50-inch Samsung 7 Series 4K screen. I have a 32-inch backlash and a 22-inch DMD.
Damn.
So,
All right. So let me just compare you guys. So Vic's standing next to his bit. Let me go stand next to my Arcade1Up. This is gonna be really sad. You guys ready for this? All right. There. I'm gonna point this towards my arcade. Let me stand next to my Arcade1Up and be like, all right, here we go. I'm also 5'11", and this is going to like my body here. And this is a 22-inch backlash and a 24-inch monitor. So I like my 3/4. You're making me feel a little inadequate right now, Vic. I don't know. Like somebody said they just got hard looking at your pinball, but I'm feeling pretty soft compared to. My goodness, good golly! All right, now I feel really inadequate. But I'm gonna hang out next to my lovely Arcade1Up. Bill, tell me more about your pinball. Tell me more.
So the big thing right now that is like a lot of people are looking into is that I wanted to do 3 screens because now software now is being bumped up. For example, you got like the Wizard of Oz ball table, like the real Wizard of Oz. Their D&D now is using this 16:9 screen.
Mm-hmm.
So originally I was going to do just a 2-screen and add the D&D to the back box. But now that it wasn't getting more advanced, even in real life, again, the real Wizard of Oz pinball machine, it doesn't have a D&D. It's actually using a 3rd screen. So I decided I want to do a 3-screen setup. And I wanted my 3rd screen to be a full-size 16:9.
Nice, very cool. So you said you have over 1,000 tables, right?
Yeah.
Does every have you gotten every table to work on all 3 screens, or is that something that you had to like scrub through?
Big thing, and I mentioned it in the group, our Facebook group. Future pinball. I'm sorry to say it is pure trash. So, in all honesty, I'm going to load it up real quick. My number is including future pinball. I have 492 future pinball tables.
Got it.
So if you can do me a favor, you could remove 492 from my 1069.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's my real table count. So
got it.
VPX was the main emulator I wanted to use. If I go into my VPX, I have 349 tables. Wow. Right? On my VPX, I tested every single VPX table. So I know all 349 VPX tables work.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I know our audio is a little bit off because we kind of switched cameras and things. So Vic's going to keep trying to talk as loud as we can. We tried to test this before the stream, but it's okay. We can kind of hear you're going in and out a little bit, Vic, but just try to keep talking up a little bit more. But yeah, it feels and looks great. So I subtracted the 492 out of Virtual Pinball. So you're at like 577 tables still. Do you have any repeat tables? Are they all unique?
So my future pinball, I didn't test those. I had that like in a pack. Those repeat. So ignore future pinball. My VPX tables, they don't repeat.
Okay.
And also my VPX tables, I only did objective-based pins. So games that don't make bells in time, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I wanted like real games.
All right. Hey, Vic, let me try one thing. I'm going to try something to switch audio. I'm going to switch back to your computer audio to see if you can just talk loudly next to that one. So, all right, give a shout. See if that sounds any better. Are you talking? Are you talking? No. Can you say something? All right, no. All right. So let me switch him back to. I'm gonna switch his mic back on. All right.
Go
all
ahead.
right.
I'll just yell louder if that's all right.
All right, there you go. I think it's just because like when you're close to your camera, it looks good, but then stand closer to your camera or to your phone. There you go. Now we can hear you. There you go. Now talk. Yes, we can hear you good now. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second because again, I just finished my I'm still working on the pinup. Let me just reboot real quick.
All right, but hey Vic, when are you taking orders though? I mean, because like people want.
I'm still perfecting it, honestly. So big thing, because you asked before, you did mention Pinball X. So Pinball X is a front end,
right?
Just like how we have Hyperspin, BigBox.
Yep.
We have Pinball X. Pinball X though is old. This is the newer one. This is called Pinup Player or Pinup System or Pinup Popper, I should say.
Yeah, like so I've heard of Pinup Popper, but that whole system works together, like Pinup Player, Popper, like the actual front end is called Popper, right? Or
so the front end, it's either Popper or System. This right now we are in Pinup Player, I would say, or Pinup Popper. There are some tables that utilize a system called Pup Packs, and I'll launch a couple of them. I'm personally not a fan of these Pup Packs because they kind of change the game. And also they're kind of loud and they're a little bit distracting, but I'll go through it basically. So again, what's really great about Pinup Player is again, it's a front end. So everything is here. I'm able to use my pinball flipper buttons to navigate, which I love for that. Also a quick note, because I don't know how yours is, B. Anybody looking for Vpin, you definitely want leaf switches for your flippers.
Nice.
Not your standard micro switch. You definitely want leaf flippers.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That just improves like the gameplay overall.
Right. It changes the game entirely. Definitely leaf switches feel way better, way nicer. So I'll load up a table real quick, which I was playing. And again, VPX, from my understanding, is the only emulator that is running 4K.
Okay.
I'm just going to see real quick. I was playing before some Tales of the Arabian Nights, which is a really great table to show off 4K. And luckily with the front end navigating is not too bad. I have my Magna saves basically set up to skip the page.
Damn. So like, I mean, this is kind of the whole argument of like, do you prefer a multi-cade where you can have like everything all in one, or do you prefer like a couple of things? Like, do you spend more time browsing than playing? Be honest, Vic.
No, I'll be honest. I play more than browse because I know what I
you know which tables you want. Nice.
Again, pinball is totally different. You know, I've been playing Tales of Arabian Nights this month, and I only play this table right now for this month.
Mike says that is asking you to show Totan. Is that a table? Do you know what that is?
Totan, that's Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Oh, that's the one that you were just looking at. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. There it is. Yes.
I'm gonna real quick just to show off. So again, this is. Let me see. Let me make sure because I do have two versions of Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Nice.
I want to make sure that this is the 4K one. No, it is not. I have the other one. Let me just show you real quick, though. I'll show it off a little bit. So, Tales of the Arabian Nights. I do have my third screen here, which is really cool because you can see the animated kind of background. So my DMD is pretty big, but it's not the whole 16:9. Also using DOF links. My system is using the LED Wiz. So it does program my LEDs, even my buttons, launch button, all that. So it's all programmed within the game. So anytime I press start or anything, launch ball will blink when it's ready.
Nice. And you have everything's all wired, like haptics inside and everything. You got 10 contactors.
Inside, and again, we have 10 solenoids. I got the beacons, the strobe lights, the whole 9 yards on this.
Ooh, it looks good. So do you for beyond the TV, do you have like a glass topper, or is that just the screen of the TV right there, like on the top? I was kind of curious about
this. Right here is a piece of plexiglass.
Over the TV? Okay, to protect it? Okay.
Yeah, I definitely did a plexiglass over the TV just to make sure. Okay. But it's plexiglass, not the tempered glass, which some people do say that you should do tempered glass, honestly, on it. But
yeah, that's one of the biggest for like full size Vpin like cabs like that, because your screen is pretty much right on the top surface versus like the Arcade1Up actually has like a recessed bezel. Do other Vpins mostly keep that flat surface on top, or like have you seen ones where it's a little bit more recessed, like the monitor?
So that's actually, if you do join any like future pinball like forums, that is the current question. Some people do have it where I have it flush to the glass.
Yeah.
Some people have it like yours where it's kind of recessed down. It's more of a preference. I want it to go right up against the glass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Some people utilize, I think on yours, B, you could do it when you recess, basically when the TV's lower. Some people put a dot matrix next to the TV for more visuals.
Oh, okay.
I just think it's too much visuals, honestly.
Yeah. Cool. And it is beautiful. You got LEDs going on. So, I mean, if you guys want to see how he did it, so definitely check out Vic VP's channel. He actually spent the time doing his own tutorials on how he put together this cab. So I was watching some of the different, parts setup that you got, and then you got into your wiring side, and then, hardware side, there's all the software configuration and things there. So every video that I've seen regarding a full out Vpin cab is really intimidating to me. So it's one of the reasons why I didn't go down the path. Like, you took the time to watch Major Frenchie and Terry Red and like learn it and then do it yourself and try to kind of replicate it and explain it. But even when I watched theirs and I watched yours, I was like, man, this is still like way over your head. So if you guys watch what my earlier streams, I did a next level episode with Guy Hall where he did just a budget build, and he was just focused on getting 2 screens to work on a 22-inch playfield, and it has like all the tables and popper. It looks great, but it doesn't have the haptic feedback. So I think with the Vpin community, like, you could do kind of whatever works best for you, right? You can go the budget side and just get the simple, tabletop like Guy did, which I thought was really great and awesome. You can do what I'm doing, which I kind of feel like it's a medium build using Arcade1Up as a base, adding in a few tables here and there. Like, this is a good medium build. And then you could do what Vic VP did and do full balls to the walls. Like, is there anything you left out? Like, if you had to do it again, like, is there anything that you didn't do that you wish you did?
So the only thing, just got the beacons going off. The only thing I didn't do, and I will definitely do, and I do have the same smart board ready. As far as haptic feedback, just for the people that are watching, so you got solenoids. That's what makes everything click, just like what B has. We do have strobes, which I do have on this, so the strobe lights. We got RGB flashers, which I do have. You got the beacons. The thing I don't have on mine is the shaker motor. A couple of real pinball machines have this motor that will literally just shake the whole table. Like, it will literally like look like it's walking on its own. So I'm missing a shaker motor. And there's a very popular pinball machine called Twister that has something called a blower fan, where it's actually a fan blowing air at you.
All right. Somebody asked, do you have, Mike already knew. He's like, do you have a blower? Mike, it sounds like you are also very much into the Vpin world. So he knows all the goodies. So I'm very curious of folks that have been able to, get into it. But, it still sometimes feels like a foreign language, like knowing the software side of setup and things about like, if you had to put like hours, like how many hours you put into this, like, could you estimate how much time you put into this build?
So if you're talking build wise, like physically building, and again, I cut the wood and everything. I would count it as maybe 2 weeks, but there was steps to it. And you'll see, like on my video, I made a video of a test bench. I had the solenoids on the test bench, and I basically was making sure my DOF links worked before I built the cabinet.
Got it.
So those 2 weeks is not counting me like testing. I knew how to wire it and everything.
Yeah, so you set up a lot of your PC systems just to make sure you could run stuff before you got into dropping it in the cab, right?
So the big thing is I used, and you'll see it in my videos, I used like a BS laptop. I didn't build a PC when I was doing my test bench. So any BS laptop will work just to make sure you get DOF links working. Once I knew and understood coding, I then bought a PC and then went on.
There's so many experts in chat. Like Isaiah's like, software took me at least 2 weeks for Virtual Pinball and then 2 days to build the cabinet. Like there's so many people that are way smarter than me. So like I'm still feel intimidated, man. Like I'm happy with my Pinball FX3, but like I may need you to hit you up after this. But like Popper looks beautiful. All the media stuff looks great. I mean, I guess, and there's also I saw on Nailbuster's site that they're coming out, and somebody mentioned it in chat that they're coming out with an all-in-one installer for Popper pretty soon.
Yes,
so
that's actually just got released. Definitely want to check out. His name is Nailbuster, so big shout out to him. Definitely, I followed Major Frenchie and Terry Red. Terry Red, he's got a step-by-step guide, and I know his videos. It's like an hour and a half long. And he talks a lot, but you need to listen to every word he says. I built this. I don't have it using Terry Red.
Yeah, I was like, every time I watch his videos, I was like, I get into it for like 10 minutes and then like I get distracted and do something else. It's like studying. Like you have to like sit down and really pay attention to get all this. And Mike was saying that he's not that smart and he did it. You are smart, Mike. Give yourself more credit than that. So.
It's not too bad. It's kind of intimidating, especially when you see like the wiring and all that. But
yeah,
once you get like the basics down, it's not too bad.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I think I may venture into it. I don't know if I might actually have the space for full size cab. Like, my goodness, if I had that size cab in my house, like you're saying, like from the wall to like where you're standing, what's the length of it? Like how long is that?
I could grab a ruler. I'd rather not fudge the numbers. I'll grab a ruler real quick.
He's like, I'm gonna measure this. I'm gonna measure twice and cut once. I would venture to guess that like just lengthwise would take up at least 3 of my Arcade1Up side by side, if not more. Like, and so, like, my goodness, like, so again, I still have a little bit of work to do with my Pinball FX3 table, but I'm pretty happy with it because again, I feel like I'm lazy. I want to take all these shortcuts. I want to reuse the same solenoids. I didn't want to learn a new front end. I was big box like crazy. So here, I got something to share with you guys. Here, let me share this with you guys. Gonna exit this. He's measuring it. What do you got? What do you got, Vic VP?
If you count my 1-inch lip on the back box, I'm at 52 inches long.
52 inches long. Dang. Okay. And tall?
75. Not including form. 75, not including the top.
My goodness. Well, I'm not trying to compare, but I'm trying to show off again. So if you're following me and if you eventually want to do this, I updated my front end of BigBox, and then I've made my own intro video for Pinball FX3. Check it out. Yeah, I like the Pinball FX3 music, don't you guys? Simple, right?
If you like that.
If you like the Marvel stuff. So yeah, this is my intro to Pinball FX3 table. So when I boot this up, it's gonna automatically boot up DOF links for the active backlash. It's gonna load up my BigBox playlist. It's gonna launch Xbox 360 CE, and then I have this as my little intro. So I think for a dedicated FX3 playlist, if folks are interested in this, I may break down and do a mod just on this because I feel the most comfortable with it. And so you know, maybe that's gonna be enough for people. I think eventually when I get my ad games, I will do more of the VPX and everything else, but I've been happy with it. I mean, guys, look, it's very simple in terms of a front end. Look, it looks almost like Pinball X, right? It's just a simple
categories. You got Marvel.
Yeah, I created 5 of like custom playlists. I just kind of put these together because FX3 has 99 tables, but there's different versions, and then
Right.
each one just has its own thing. So I took these logos from a hyperspin build.
That's actually clean though. It does look clean.
It's clean, right? It's simple.
I do
you
like
just
it.
jump into a table, jump out. So I mean, like I think you can use any front end to launch your system, but I remember when I wanted to go like, oh, hyperspin versus LaunchBox build. You could do this in LaunchBox, and then like this was my old build, and I just changed some of the things. So I'm sure you could do it in hyperspin too if you wanted to, but I'm a LaunchBox geek. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
No, I think honestly that is being a viewer, seeing how you have it set up. I would be more confident on doing the Arcade1Up mod, just like how you have it.
Yeah. So I think I probably, once I nail down a little bit more on how I did everything, I think I'll break down a tutorial of what I did, because I reused all the stock parts. Comparing, I know folks probably saw Cool Toys' video.
Jedi Knight and French Captain Solo.
Dan, it's loud. Sorry.
Now, B, real quick, if I could ask you,
I'm gonna exit out of that. Go ahead.
It's all right.
All right, let's just close this out. All right, go ahead.
Now, because I see my table and comparing it to yours. When you launch and go right into playing, is DOFLinks like that, and it recognizes solenoids, or does it take maybe like 10 seconds?
Since Pinball FX3, it kind of takes a while to load up anyways. Like by the time I get to a table, it starts working as soon as I hit the flippers, as far as I know.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
See, like on mine, it's like maybe a 10-second delay. But what's cool is and it's pretty cool for you, B, because you have the same smart board, and it's cool knowing that you could actually add stuff. Did you use all 8 of your channels?
Not yet. I just have the 4 right now with the stock solenoids that came with it, but I can add more if I wanted to.
That's cool. So people that are watching, you don't have to just do solenoids, but keep in mind, I think yours are 12 volts, correct?
Yeah. And your contactors are 24.
If they watch my video, I used automotive 12-volt strobes, so you could definitely add strobes. The beacons up top, which is very popular. I mean, that's awesome. I would definitely do beacons. Those are 12 volts. So those are 2 just slots that you put from your SaintSmart, which is awesome.
Yeah, my active back glass isn't working right now, but I think I might have unplugged a DMD. My DMD screen turned off, so I got to fix that. But yeah, I think I'll be able to kind of do the medium build for those folks that want to do that. That's what I got going on. But let's look at, I want to see more of Vic's build. So let's make you big. There it is. Let's make Vic VP really big.
So I'm right now doing a FX3 table. My accelerometer, which is the KL25Z board, I did set it sensitive. I did the mistake. I put it in the back. The KL board should be in the front, so you could kind of see like when I shake the table, the screen does kind of jitter a little bit. But when I go into like a VPX table, it is definitely cool to see the nudge and all that.
Nice. Let me check question. We have some chat questions here. So the Control Alt Geek says, why do people add beacons to pinball machines? I don't remember seeing pinball in the wild with beacons.
Wait, I didn't get that one.
So like, why do you have beacons on there? Like, he was asking, like, are there beacons on real pinball machines? Is that just for flash and show, or?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of the most popular pins, I'm drawing a blank, but a lot of them do have beacons. It's definitely like a cool feature when you hit something specific and it goes off. It gives you like a sense of like satisfaction. Like, yes, I did it. But yes, there are, I believe, a couple of actual real tables that utilize beacons.
Yeah, Molar Melik says the Getaway real pinball has real beacons too. So
interesting that he said that. I will load up the Getaway because they just made a pup pack for it.
Oh, what does that mean when they make a pup pack for a game? What does that mean?
I'll show you that. So we're gonna jump to it. I was gonna see real quick. I'm gonna put 1 coin in just to see if I can get the beacon to activate, just so that he can see the beacon. So I just hit the skill shot, and it's just the feature on VPX that will basically engage it. Anything that you do, it'll launch it.
Nice.
Now he did say very good. We're gonna do the Getaway. I just added it too. And it's always like how hyperspin is. It's either the getaway or getaway.
Yeah.
Again, utilizing my Magna save, I'm able to skip letters because going through, 300 tables is gonna be a pain in the ass. So
Yeah.
big thing is the way I have it set, because you asked me before about duplicates. If you see right now, I'm on the getaway, but I do have another getaway.
Right.
And
different emulator.
Pup packs is a big deal.
Okay.
But I personally don't like them. So I have one table that is no pup pack and one table that is pup pack.
Got it.
So I'm going to launch the one with the pup pack. And I'll explain exactly what a pup pack means and all that. Cool. I should actually compare it real quick to the original one before I even do that, but it's all right.
And I think I have to get away too.
You see, like our back glass is animated. So certain triggers within the game will activate different videos. It is definitely CPU hungry. You can even see right now it is kind of stuttering. It is slow.
What kind of graphics card do you have in your PC?
Like it. And I'm running an i5 2070, 16 gigs of RAM.
Damn.
And you can see I'm experiencing a little bit of stutter. Maybe I should have done an i7, but let's do one pup pack real quick. So I'll start at the table. I'll put my coins in. You can kind of see I got 1 out of 2. This game is doing color D&D. So it is a colorful D&D that's actually people sit and they color every scene basically. So if I launch this, I'm gonna launch the volume. So that's the original. No, that's not the original background.
Damn, that looks fun, guys. Let's party at Vic's house, man. Like we all gotta take turns. Like the Vpin like hobby is deep. Like I think this is definitely holy grail status. So I mean, I'm sure you've already shared all the resources and things you've done, but
so it's like, see, like when you drain the ball, you get kind of like these animated videos and all that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's sweet, guys. What do you guys think? Good stuff. So good. Oh my goodness. Muller saying the goal is to own.
So now again,
BOP
it doesn't
and
affect
Jackbot
actual gameplay here, but it also depends on how this person basically made the pup pack. So I am seeing a lot of stuttering on this. You can even see like it just doesn't look right. Let me do one that I do know will work, which is the Flintstones, just to compare it. Because that's the big thing also, people are making pup packs. It's just, to me, they are kind of distracting in a good way and a bad way. But I'll launch up another one, which is going to be the Flintstones. And I know I have the pup pack for it.
All right. So while you do that, some folks are saying like, pup pack videos look nice, but they might prefer the static ones. Polo and Atran Fanatic, you guys are asking for me to update my intro to an Optimus Prime version of that. So email me at kongzarus@arcade@gmail.com. I'd be interested in seeing if you guys want to do something. That'd be fun. I like Transformers. I was thinking about doing a Transformers mod at some point. But yeah, for sure. All right. So fun. Animated black glass for the win. Legit. Got it. Like Mike has a 1060, but pup packs like that play the way they were made.
Okay,
like to play
working out the kinks on my table. My pinup is still a little bit finicky. It actually went back to the desktop, so I'm gonna have to reload. Actually, you see, a little embarrassing. Yeah.
All right. So you haven't answered the question yet, because I think I asked in the beginning, how much time or money have you put into this cab? Like, what's the dollar value amount?
So definitely cutting the cabinet. I saved money. I only spent $40 on MDF.
Okay.
Including everything, I am in the whole $2,300.
$2,300.
$2,300. That is everything you see here. You gotta think it's $900 alone just the TVs. I bought the Samsung was $650. The ViewSonic bezel-less was about $200,
Mhm.
and then the D&D down here was about $150. So I'm in the whole 2,300, but not in a bad way.
Was that you including your PC too or no?
That's including the PC. That's everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Look, like
It's not that big of a deal. PC,
Yeah.
the only thing right now is graphics cards, but
yeah.
regular motherboard from MSI, which I
Mhm.
regret going cheap. I wouldn't go cheap again.
Mhm.
16 gigs of RAM,
Wanna play?
500 gigabyte M.2 SSD, and the graphics card. It's really all it is.
My son wants to demo playing some games, so I'm gonna let him play for a second. I'm gonna turn on my second DMD for really fast. Hold on. All right, let me plug this back in so it turns back.
I'm gonna launch the Flintstones with the puppet. And also another thing, when you're looking at like the pinup system here, just doing the artwork, that was a pain. You have to sit and do every table. You got to download the playfield video. You got to download the sound. You got to download the backglass. So it's work. That's why I do suggest focusing on one table and then expanding out. So we're gonna run right now Flintstones with a puppet.
Nice.
So you kind of see like our backglass is animated. There's a couple of cartoons going on.
So yeah, I mean, so $2,300 for everything that you did. If I had to just add up what I put into my cab right now, so it's $600 for the base cab, and then like with my PC, which is the most expensive thing, extra monitors, and then some of the other supplies was like, and then if I don't count buying the Steam tables, because I know there's other unorthodox ways you can play FX3, but I purchased the legit Steam tables. I'm in at about $1,100 like on this cab for like running legit FX3 Steam tables. So I mean, God, for like $1,200 more, you could do everything that you did, but you have to build your own cab obviously and do that stuff too. Man.
Yeah, the only big thing I would say is when you take my 2,300, maybe just add another 300 or 400 if you were going to go and buy like a Game Room Solutions cabinet. You know, it is what it is, but definitely cutting it yourself, you will see.
Nice. Very good. Mike was saying C-Kong could do it. This is a huge rabbit hole. So I mean, beyond the ability to actually do it, which I think I probably could, I could probably hook up with To Die For Bobby. He could probably cut wood for me and do it, and we can build like a giant cab. Bobby, by the way, I'm not gonna say it, but Bobby is doing his own Vpin something that might be crazy. But yeah, like I think I'm just limited in space, like a 50-inch table. I'm looking at my 50-inch TV that's like right over here to the side, and I just can't imagine that as like a Vpin table. But that's pretty insane. Like, wow. That's
actually how I started. I just laid down. I had I think it was a 32-inch lying around, and I just laid it down, and I was like, let me see what this looks like if I put a Vpin to it.
Bobby could do it clean. I'm sure he can.
Yeah,
easy.
That's where honestly, and somebody did ask me, I got a CNC quote for my exact pin dimensions. The guy with the material, he wanted $350 to cut MDF.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I got kind of upset because it was $100 to cut it. Like he charged me like $100 CNC cut, but the material price was like $200, and I was like, MDF at Home Depot is like $30. I don't understand. But no, you definitely like get into it. It's definitely a lot of fun, especially like this here. Also, I do have surround sound feedback. So there are 4 exciters, like what you guys do with your outrun cabinets. So it adds more sound as far as ball roll. Again, I feel like my pinball machine is maxed out minus the shaker motor and the blower fan. You kind of see how I have my back. These are my amps for the surround sound. PC underneath. You can see my automotive strobes. Getting my ruler out of my pocket. There we go.
So good. So yeah, that's the next level that like right now I'm using just a regular encoder, but the KL25Z, right? That's the one where you can get like nudge and all that good stuff. Did you do all the like how did you wire did you buy kit?
the KLZ board 100%.
Did you wire it yourself or did you buy like a kit? Because I know you have to solder
so
in.
that's actually why I made my videos.
Mhm.
You don't need to get these pre-made boards. Something like a Zed's board, you don't need it. My route that I did is definitely the cheapest and easiest way of going about. You definitely don't need to get a pre-made board.
Definitely gonna do that. Oh my goodness, it's so good. What do you guys want to see? You guys
be good at soldering. Like you might have to solder a little bit, but
yeah, it's
the
so
reason why I
good.
loaded up South Park was these guys actually move in game. So right now they're gonna kind of like just simmer down. And then if I actually shake the pinball machine.
Oh dang! Okay, there
so
you
that's
go.
the KLZ board. That's
the
live nudge. So if I actually really throw it, it will tilt.
All right, we got a request for you to play Pinbot. Do you have Pinbot?
So you got a couple of versions of Pinbot. You got Bride of Pinbot. You got the machine. So I'll try to find one of them. And what's really great, and again, somebody did message me, vpinball.com to me is the most updated current website to get table ROM files as far as VPX. So Pinbot.
That's The Walking Dead.
And again, there's Bride of Pinbot. There's the machine. You learn your tables. I never played this machine in person, but with my pinball machine, I could play it.
Pinbot Original looks beautiful. And then afterwards, we have a request for Lord of the Rings, if you have it.
Oh, Lord of the Rings, yes. Lord of the Rings is another table, modern table like Wizard of Oz that uses pup packs or real videos instead of like a regular DMD.
Hey, Atran Fanatic, if you're gonna do, can you make an Optimus Prime version of Welcome to the Next Level, and then I can use that like in my countdown video, like at the very end? Like that would be dope. If you can do Optimus Prime Welcome to the Next Level, I'll drop that into my intro. So let me know.
I'll play this real quick. B, I'm not gonna hear you, so I'll play for a minute.
Do it. We're just in awe watching some Vic VP gameplay while my son is playing on his Pinball FX3 cab, which is I feel like it's good. I hear my haptics going on. I don't like, for some reason my DMD monitor screen went out on mine, so I have to double check what happened. But that's why my Dolphinx isn't running. But I have a generic backlash right now. Vic's Pinball is loud. Like yeah, he's getting into it. He's playing some Pinbot.
Did notice, B, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I do notice your solenoids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to compare it to mine, but you kind of hear like the thump. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the difference between a solenoid and a contactor, right? Like, how does the contactor
Right. So
work?
I'm using these Siemens or the Simons contactors, so you could definitely really feel the thump on this.
Oh, somebody wanted Bride of Pinbot. Oh my God, there's so many versions.
And again, I have 10 solenoids on this.
So I probably will be adding, like, since I already have the SaintSmart board, because again, you went SaintSmart to LED Wiz with 16 channels. I did mine with just 8 channels for the SaintSmart board because I'm not going to be doing LEDs or anything else or things like that. So as long as I guess I could add stronger contactors because the SaintSmart can handle different voltages. I just have to get a different power supply, right?
Right, correct. The SaintSmart board has those 3 inputs. Whatever your middle is, you could go up to 24 volts.
Okay. So yeah, I might think about that.
It's a good thing to do. Just be careful, but you do need a 24 volt power supply.
When you did your diodes into like your solenoids too, or your contactors, did you have to
realize that in your video, B? Oh, and I forgot to even mention it because it's a very big thing. It's like a Bible. everybody should search Mr. JNet.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. JNet has a V Pinball Bible. Definitely, he goes through everything from solenoids and how to wiring it. And yes, you do need the diode.
Definitely, because my board was skidding out when I didn't have it, but when it starts up, it still kind of like flickers. So I was wondering if I needed to add capacitors, because I remember saying that like disc capacitors could also help reduce any feedback. Did you do that level, or did you only do diodes?
No, I only did diodes. I didn't do capacitors. No.
Okay, got it. So maybe it's just me. I think it's just my wiring is not tight. So.
This is whoever was requesting it.
Lord of the Rings. There it is.
Sorry.
We have
Basically, I launched it without the pup pack.
We got a
So I have
Lord.
two of the same tables. One not, as you can see, it's totally different now on my back glass. I'm raising the camera.
And then we have a request for Terminator 2 from Dan Mendez. If you have T2.
Terminator 2, I believe I have the Judgment. But what's cool again, you literally sit down. So actually, just shooting the breeze now, somebody messaged me and was like, hey, Vic, how much for your drive? And I'm like, no, Vpin is totally different. Don't even bother looking at drives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth it. I did get a hold of somebody's drive, actually, and I know people don't like Game Room Solutions, but he actually has a link to a 500 table drive by a guy named Arcade1Up. I should be actually playing with. I did download that. It was pure trash. He did have VPX tables. It was old junk tables, but he didn't have 4K. So tables like the Flintstones, it was like the first ever version of the Flintstones and not a 4K version.
Nice.
So stay away from drives. There's no such thing as drives.
That's already pre-configured, you mean?
Do what I did and sit down and download each individual game. So I literally downloaded 350 VPX tables.
Yeah. Is it because all the setup's going to be unique to your TV setup, monitor setup? Is that why it's like hard to configure drives for
Not
VPN?
necessarily. It's just more about making sure the tables work. But I have 4K, so I did want to definitely download 4K versions of those tables. Not all tables are 4K, but knowing that there are 4K tables, you might as well save the time and download that 4K table. Somebody said Terminator. And again, I literally discover new games, new tables. The track mode on this is gorgeous. Just like how Hyperspin is, you leave it alone for a minute, it'll go and cycle through all the tables. We'll do some Terminator 2. So again, there's a person by the name of Andrew Walsh. He literally sat and made all of these backgrounds.
So somebody is asking, is there a way to also make it so that you can set the coins to take quarters? Like you can set your if you entered a coin machine, right? You could actually add in a coin slot, shouldn't you? Just be able to map that to coin.
Yes, you could do. So all the machines do need quarters. Yes. What's kind of cool, but also not kind of cool, the way, at least for VPX, if I put 10 coins in, 10 quarters in, and I exit, it will still think that there's 10 quarters in it when I reload it. So right now, and what's cool about DOF links, I don't think I have any quarters there. It says credit 0. So just like an arcade cabinet, you could have a coin button, or you could do an actual coin slot.
Right.
So
right.
I need to put coins in to play the game. And again, with DOF links, you could see it knows that the ball's in the chute. It's asking me to launch the ball, and we're ready. That's why I like VPX. It just knows all the tricks.
Yes. So just lots of other comments in here about how the Vpin community frowns upon drives. So definitely agrees with you there. There's still Vpins out in the wild that are still kind of still making money. So you definitely want to respect the authors and make sure that when you download stuff, dank folks. And a lot of people, like you said, like the quote unquote nameless people behind the scenes that are building this, again, they're not making any profit off of these. Like VPX, you can download all these tables mostly for free, right? Like in the Vpin forums and things.
Right, correct. That's why a lot of people are frowned upon about selling VPNs.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there are arguments with it, but yes, there are literally people. There's somebody that sat and programmed.
Yeah.
We do want to respect them and,
Mm-hmm.
and their hard work with that.
Yes, absolutely. That makes sense. Mike is saying the VPin community honors the wishes of those table makers, and tables tend to not be released until a company stops producing the table. That's
Right.
that's a good kind of way. You don't want to be taking money away from
Whoever wrote that,
operators.
That's a very respectful way to say it.
Yeah, that was Mike. Good old Mike is a Bible of knowledge here too. So I'd love to chat with you sometime too. So yeah, all free table makers and VPX are true artists. Exactly. The unsung heroes of the VPin community, man. So that's awesome. So I feel like I'm still just getting my feet wet, Vic. I mean, we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes now about VPin. Like, jump back to your computer. Let's just finish this off. Talk about some other projects you got going on. We'll call it a night. But I'm sure I'm going to be following up with you in a bit too. Or you can just stand there in front of your VPin. I hear you just fine. But you're gonna go back. All right, you're going back.
Sorry, B.
There it is. You're back.
Let me just plug my mic in.
I'll leave your VPin in the background because it's so beautiful, and we'll just chat like this. But
let me know if you could hear me, B.
Yeah, no, you sound great. I can hear you just fine.
Well, yeah, I figure I'll let the VPin go into a track mode, which again is pretty cool. After 1 minute, it'll just cycle through all the tables.
Nice.
It's cool.
So
It's just
cool, man.
you see like an hour and 15 minutes goes by just showing it off. I mean, I did a live stream on like the A1up Facebook group, and like it's cool. Everybody has questions, and it's definitely cool to see. Definitely pretty cool when I get like DMs and I get messages, and I read all the YouTube comments. It's cool seeing like people are like, "Oh man, I like your pin. I want to copy it." The big thing to note about like my pin, I didn't want any at all, like zero black empty space, kind of like on your pin B with the A1up, right where your arm is. You do have that
right
board.
here. Yep.
Me personally, like I'm just not a fan of that like look. I do like your back box. I do like it's clean, left to right, like bezel-less. So it's pretty cool knowing like people see mine and like, oh man, I like it. And that was my biggest thing. That's why I had to actually custom build the cabinet around my TV. I forgot to mention that. My cabinet dimensions are around my TV. So it's cool. And you can see that there's no edges. You don't see like the Samsung logo on the TV. So you plan it. You have to definitely plan out your pin.
Have you ever like plugged in like a controller and did vertical games on your giant thing, or is it strictly pinball? You
know what it is, and I know again because I build these things. I know there's going to be people requesting that, and it's kind of like what you said before, B. Let's keep that dedicated cabinet for that.
What it's made for.
You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of it. I do know somebody's definitely going to take the A1up cabinet and put a joystick and 3 buttons. It's just, I don't know. When I look at a pinball machine like that, and no disrespect, it's just there shouldn't be a joystick on a pinball machine. So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, because the At Games Legends is actually really built for that purpose too, like to have flexibility to play things. And so they built an add-on where you can drop in a controller.
Right, I've seen that.
That one too.
I think, I forgot the YouTuber that has it. Mad Little Pixel, I think, has it.
Did a little preview on it too. I think so. So it's like it's like a mini gamer pro that you can drop into it, play vertical games on it. So I think that's going to be really fun. And again, it's really, there's different pin cabs for what your goals are. So it's like, I guess as a final thought, just to kind of cover back what we did, depending on if you're doing a all-in-one multi-cade, you only have room for one pinball table. Right. I think going a DIY route is great because you can make it yourself. You can do all the tables like what Vic did. If you are going into adding multiple virtual pinball tables into your arcade collection, especially an Arcade1Up one, I would highly, recommend folks to consider making them dedicated to just a handful of tables, or doing like what I did with just a Pinball FX3, doing something else, because you don't want to replicate stuff. And like, again, if you can play the same pinball table on multiple devices, like kind of what's the point? Plus, I don't know, like you said, like you're able to navigate pretty well in Popper, like by name, but like I feel like I would have a hell of a time scrolling through 1,000 games. Like I feel like you knew where everything was to get to where you're.
Well, I mean, again, aside from being alphabetical,
Mhm.
you know, the other thing is when you actually sit and make sure you make your own cabinet.
Yeah.
For example, like somebody said, Toten, Tales of the Arabian Night. I
Mhm.
have 2 versions of that table, but I accidentally didn't configure it right. So
Yeah.
I have one table named Toten,
Mhm.
Totan,
Yeah.
and then I have another one called Tales of the Arabian. So if you think about it, Tales of the Arabian, there's
Would be in a
one
different place.
Tales, and then I have to now go through T to get Toten. So
Yeah.
it's just something that you do. But you know, usually it's just alphabetical order. But
Remember.
you also learn your machine. You know what I mean?
Learn your
You
machine.
you know where it is, and luckily, like with
You-
pinup, there is like a recently played. So instead of you sitting going through the wheel, you just go to your recently played games and play it.
Oh, Mike says that there's Google Voice in Popper. Like, can you do that? Can you voice activate a table?
I didn't do that. There again, I give a shout out to Terry Red because he's probably the mastermind behind the coding on that.
Yeah.
I think I've seen people Google Voice into turning their machine on.
hmm
I don't think you could pin a popper into a table. I'd be shocked with that, but that's
Mike is saying,
oh, he's
play
saying it. I
Toten.
see it. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Well, I didn't
I
get
don't
that
know.
far.
Okay.
I got a bunch of Alexas in the house, so I can't do it.
That'd be fun, man. I guess there's definitely next level things you can do. So there's more things you got. So look, you got it in chat. It says Mike says you can do it. You got to do something else.
There you go.
gotta-
You see it.
You got to voice activate to get into your 1,000
Right.
tables, right? I mean, what else are you gonna do? But knowing it front and back, I mean, you do 40 terabyte hyperspin drives. I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on, your knowledge of like just where stuff is pretty crazy. But do you have any other like big projects around the horizon? You said DOF reality. Let's just touch on that really quickly. Like, you're
Yeah,
gonna do a
so-
full motion sim. Is that
so
what you're gonna do?
So here's the big thing, and I contacted the company because I mean I'm
Mm-hmm.
on TikTok and somebody posted it, and
Yeah.
I was mind blown by this DOF. I was like, what?
Mhm.
But granted, they are expensive. They're like $2,000
Yeah.
depending on which one you get. So
Mhm.
I forgot which model they make. I sent a message out to the company. And I said, hey, listen, I build arcades. I like arcades, but we have to take your sim and make it arcade friendly. I kind of try to segue into asking them like, hey, can you hook me up with a model? But it didn't work. Basically, and again, I was talking to a guy and I said, listen, I want to play like Cruising World. Can I get force feedback from that? And he said no. So I said to him, I was like, I'm willing if I could learn it, maybe me and them could collaborate and get basics to work. So
Like
it's
this thing,
definitely
right?
cool. So that one that you just clicked on is like extreme level. I'm looking at just the one that goes left and right and up and down. They have like an extreme kit, like the H4 or
Like
the
this one.
H6. Yeah, that one. That's the exact one. So that one goes left, right, up and down. The H6 has like the whole like motion going on, but
Mhm.
I did message them and I said, hey, listen, look at what A1up did with the Outrun.
Mhm.
People don't like it. I get it. It doesn't suit you, but then it opened up the whole realm of people buying broken cruising worlds. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's why we have to give shout out to A1up. Me personally, like I just hate the 1/2-inch board. I can't stand it. That's why, like for example, I was going to ask you
Mhm.
on your pin.
Yep.
Is it easy to like tilt? Like is it kind of like a nudge or like for me? I really got to muscle my table to really get like that, like the Simpsons character before the bounce. I
Yeah.
got to really muscle it. I got to really tilt that table.
These are really light, right? I mean, like the
Right.
1/2 inch, like I mean, all the A1up cabs are made for you to be able to like move stuff on your own.
Right.
But what I probably I did order a KL25Z board to like
Cool.
re-add nudge in eventually to this, but I even though that we could do that, I'm probably just gonna stick mostly with the digital ones too, because I'm trying to think about like what's the balance between keeping it where I can replicate it. I can tell people how to do a tutorial for folks that don't want to solder and wire up a KL25Z, because you can do nudge buttons as easily in FX3 or for other stuff too. Like, can you do nudge? Do you have nudge buttons on your side, or do you always just push to?
So
Okay.
the only so on my cab is there's 4 buttons. You got your regular flippers and you have Magna saves.
Okay.
I only have the nudge assigned to my Magna saves on FX2 and 3.
Okay.
As far as VPX, I didn't really do button nudges. You could assign it. I think it's more of a preference. If you don't have the access to the KLZ board, then yes, you could definitely set a button nudge, which is pretty cool. It's just you got to think that KLZ board is like what, $35? You know, for me, $35 bucks, you might as well do it.
I mean, it's not the cost; it's the effort. I told you I'm a lazy modder. I like to have things. I like to have things like nearly done and complete. So I like my Geek Pie, and it's not only that. Like once I've learned something, it's hard for me to like unlearn things and dive into something new. Like I think you've been great at like expanding your knowledge, and I know like you're really into hyperspin and like other things, but like you continually can like learn new things and then get good at it. I think that's what sets you apart. And you know why people follow me is like I've been able to kind of take things that feel complicated and simplify it. That's because I'm lazy. So that's why like that's like I don't want to learn stuff. I want to simplify it and get away with the bare minimum. That's why I was like watching Major Frenchies in your videos. Like I don't want to do all that wiring. I just want to get an eight channel Saint Smart board and wire it up. And I did it. So I was like, that's the goal. So call me the lazy modder, but it worked.
Not really. I wouldn't call it lazy. I think it's more about, you know, I think it's cool. It is definitely time consuming. You know, especially when people look at my video on how I built my pin, I will definitely make sure I clean up my wiring for the next one. But I was kind of like that. I was like, screw it. It's going to be my pin and I'm just going to throw the wires in. But, you know, it's to each their own. There's two different ways of going about it. So I wouldn't really call it lazy. I think it's just more of a unique kind of way of doing it.
Yeah. And somebody was asking your cab is 3/4 inch wood?
Yes.
MDF?
Yes.
Okay.
No. So I did 3/4 inch MDF. Some people did message me and they were like, oh, you shouldn't do MDF because the solenoids, it doesn't absorb the sound. And no, it's fine. Apparently you should use birch for the realistic sound of the solenoid, but you're able to hear it like in the audio. It's loud. And luckily with the like pinup system and Pinscape, I should say, there is a night mode. So you are able to turn off all of your DOF stuff so you don't piss off the wife. But yeah, see, Moeller wrote there, birch wood is the best. Right. Yeah. You should use birch.
But for isn't the board that the Mike was saying like this, doesn't it have the pins on it when you buy it, the $15 one, right?
No,
like,
no, none of them do. I don't believe any of them do. You have to solder. You
have to solder, right? Like like they're just empty pinholes, and you have to like plug it in and solder it down. So that's what I was thinking. Like I could do it. I have a soldering iron. Like I know I could do it. I actually ordered one. I probably will swap out what I've been using something called a Geek Pie encoder that allows you to plug in analog signals plus a digital. It's just a better generic USB encoder that I really like.
Right. So now what's cool about yours is like I never heard of that encoder. I'm like, what is that? Like what? Yeah. I never heard of it, but you found that away.
So this was me like diving deep into something that I kind of knew, but I didn't know. I was trying to see how accelerometers work and are wired into like an Arduino or something else. So what I've seen is that there's a 5-volt connection to it. Like if you're riding just an accelerometer, not the KLTZU, it's like a 5-volt connection to ground and then 3 axes. So I was like, can I wire an accelerometer into my Geek Pie so I don't have to learn how to use the KLTZU? And I did it. I did. So, but my problem is like I plugged it in and wired it, and so when I moved the accelerometer, essentially like what you did when you like it moves it on, like you can see the sensor, but it's not sensitive enough for me to nudge this and feel like I have to like really move it. So I don't know if there's a way to like change the sensitivity in it, but I kind of got it working. So I was like, if I could wire an accelerometer into my Geek Pie, which accepts analog signals, then I could just create my own nudge feature without it. But it's the same cost as buying the KL25Z at that point. So I'm like, what's the point? I don't know.
I get what you're saying. So yes, it makes sense. I do get exactly what you're saying on that. Yeah. Now also remember, for anybody watching it, the KLZ board, it has like 80 pins, but you're not gonna solder all 80 pins. Like I just watched before I watched Cool Toys video, and he showed his board. And he soldered all the you didn't need all those. You only have to solder really like 15 pins max.
I think he really need already done though. Like
so I think correct. I think he went and got like one of those like I think it's like a Zeb's board or whatever it is. I mean, again, people make those boards. Kudos and shout out to that. It's just I don't want to pay $70 for a $25 board.
Yeah. If you can just like do the basics for it, right?
Yeah, even though you don't know how to solder, I'm pretty sure you could still figure it out and get it down. It's not that bad.
Yeah, and then I think my big goal was like reusing a lot of the stock parts too, because I saw him replace the entire analog plunger. So the stock Arcade1Up plunger works. It's just the magnetic sensor and the range on it is just like really, really bad.
So,
but it works.
Right, I did see that he did put like mine with the slider, and I was actually going to ask you, but then again, you have your A1up. You pull the plunger. If it feels realistic enough for you, you don't need a real shooter rod like I have. It works. As long as that thing pulls and you let it go and it slingshots back, that's all you need. I mean, I haven't felt yours, but
I got it working. You want to see? You want to see mine?
I think did you post it in your when you were building it?
I did, but it was more like a digital signal. So
go ahead, show it.
Where I actually got the analog setting working. So I know I'm already at an hour and a half.
No, listen, I'm here. So people are still watching, and I knew it was gonna hit a certain length, and luckily my wife's okay with it. So I'm down to hang out and all that. See, like the big thing, like I like the table. It's just that bar, it to me it's a distraction. It's just in the way you could put a cup on it. Yeah. I don't know if you're talking, B, but I can't hear you.
Let me turn on this audio.
Oh, I think I could hear you now. I just hope everybody else can.
An echo?
Maybe a tad.
All right, let me go back to this. Is that better? But then I
think you sound okay.
Swap this and make this big. Okay, there we go. All right, so here is a table. And what I did is I used Xbox 360 CE, like you said.
Right.
And so then when I loaded that up, I mapped my analog controller to the right trigger, so that because the trigger on the Xbox controller actually has kind of an analog signal, right?
Right.
So when I pull this back, you can actually see me pulling it back pretty good. So let me see if I can. Sorry.
I can see. I hope you launched a table that has
like a little pullback.
Yeah, like the pullback animation.
Yeah.
I know, like the Family Guy does, because like Joe Swanson in the chair. Let's see.
Yeah, there's like a little like arrow there. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Family Guy and get out of here. All right, so this is my little drop down. Oh, you know what I can do? What am I doing? I can just share my screen like I did earlier.
Oh, there you go.
I'm all like trying to see a camera, and I'm like, ugh, let me just screen share like I did earlier on this, and you can actually just see it instead of being all like funky. All right.
I was gonna say you probably even do like you probably even show like the X360 CE screen. But no, do your thing. Let's see. I'd rather see it live in game.
All right, let's see. We're gonna go share screen, share audio. Do this screen here. Yeah, my third screen, my DMD isn't plugged in for some reason. So
that's all right.
All right, so let's go back into our LaunchBox and launch. Aren't you launching? Something else being pressed right now? This always happens like when you're live streaming.
I know, I was just gonna say that. That's all right. That's just part of it.
All right.
That's just part of the fun of live streaming.
Yes. Okay, let's exit out of there.
Game paused. Single player and hot.
Why does it keep exiting?
Game paused. Single player and hot.
Yes.
It's always part of the live. That's how it is.
I know. I can't even get this going right now.
It's all right. That's what gets so frustrating. And then you get people in the chats like, you can't do it.
You can't
but
do
no,
it.
we got it. You got it. Can't let the machines beat us. Don't worry.
Can't let the machines beat us. My computer is just like skipping out right now. It's like not even going. Like I think my keyboard, when I press the actual button, it's the button is like, it's like my right click is my left click. What is going on?
Now, real quick, while you do that, B, if you could, I would love to hear, like, because again, I like how. Oh wow! Is that like a plastic bezel?
This right here on the screen.
Like right above, it looks like right where your icons are. I see like a black. Yeah, no, down in the actual cabinet.
Oh, like
you see where your icons are on the top left.
yeah.
On like I see a black kind of. It looks like an.
It actually dips down, so like there's like it's recessed and it goes down into the cab itself.
But it kind of looks like an old school arcade CRT bezel. You know what I mean? Is that what it is, or is my eye just? Am I seeing things?
It's it's just a piece of MDF that's sitting on top of the monitor. So the monitor is flat and then it's just a piece of MDF. Like I can
from my angle, somebody tell me in the chat that doesn't look like an arcade bezel, like what you would find like on a Street Fighter cabinet.
Yeah, kind of. It's like it's just like a piece of MDF that's like sitting on top of it. But
so now, what are you running on that? B? Is that like a NUC? What do you got a Dell Optiplex in that? What are you running?
Yeah, I got a Dell Optiplex inside with a 1050 Ti.
Okay, cool. So 1050 Ti.
Yep.
I'm guessing, and that was another thing. I was. It's kind of hard to say, because we don't know unless somebody does know. Educate me. Do you know like specs on that monitor? Are we looking at a 60 hertz 1080p monitor?
My stock monitor on the bottom is a Dell. It's a Dell monitor that I replaced it because the stock one I couldn't get reworking. So I had to replace the whole thing with the Dell Ultra Smart. So that's what I got there.
Okay, cool. So I see what you're saying. You have a whole separate You put a monitor, and I didn't even know that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I replaced the monitor. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can get my DMD back working.
No, go ahead. Do your thing. And now 1050 Ti, that means you have 3-screen input.
Yeah, exactly.
Because not all 1050 Ti's, I think, do 3-screen. I think there's a couple with two like inputs. So, or am I wrong? Is it? What do you have? So 2 HDMI, 1 display.
Yeah, it's 2 HDMI and then 1 DVI.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So definitely you're at least 1080p. I'm shocked to hear that their DMD had HDMI.
Yeah, it's really easy, but it's only like I think 800 by 400 is the resolution on it. So it's not great. Yeah. So like when I had to change it and set it up, it was just like kind of a different resolution setting that I had to work out. But I'm trying to see what happened to my DMD. Oh, there it is. I see it. My HDMI.
HDMI wiggled out.
It wiggled out.
You nudged too hard.
It's wiggly. Yeah. All right, let's plug this back in and see if I can get it going. Because I think that's what messed up all my other monitor settings.
That's also, yes, that's a big thing to also note when you do get into the Vpin game. For any of the viewers that are still there. So it's like, if you like unplug like one of your monitors and you leave the computer on, Windows and like their displays 1, 2, 3, you might it might switch on you and you kind of go crazy.
It's back. All right, I got it back.
All right, sweet.
So that's good. Okay, so now this is X360 CE. So when I'm pulling my nudge, and let me share the screen again so I can show you guys.
Right now, also I do want to annoy because Cool Toy made a comment, and it's not necessarily true. You don't need X360 CE running before you play the game.
Does it launch it when it plays?
It should. That's how mine is. As long as you have X360 CE in the same area where the executable for FX3 is, it should automatically just turn on.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm pretty new to using X360 CE, so I just have it set up at.
That's okay. So you're gonna do what he does, where you have X360 on, and then you're gonna launch FX3.
Yeah, because I have it in the same folder, but I didn't I tried it where I launched it, and I didn't see the actual the connection. So let me play without audio so you can still hear me, and then share. Okay, so now you guys can see the screen. I'm gonna make this big here. Cool. So this is X360 CE, and then if you can kind of see it, I have like the nudge.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
So it's the range is there.
Right.
So in my settings, when I go to the actual USB game controller, it's a USB this right here. But you can see I have like the full range on my plunger and that Y rotation.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as I have, but it's a magnetic sensor, so it's the sensors on the top, and so when I pull back, it's moving it away. So
Right, right.
Like, so the range is just like, it's there, so I can actually get really close when I nudge or when I do my
Right. That so when you get into actual playing pin, you don't. Everybody tends to just pull as far as you can on the plunger, whereas to hit a couple of skill shots, you're not supposed to pull all the way. You might have to go halfway, 3/4 of the way to hit certain skill shots on pinball machines.
You were saying Family Guy has something, right, that we can see?
Family Guy has like Joe Swanson. He pulls back. Now, this is cool. You have a nice little loading screen. Now, again, you said you're using BigBox.
Yep, BigBox. And then once Pinball FX3 loads, if you can kind of see, I have DOF links where it normally auto loads up the dynamic backglass, but I don't see my DOF links running right now.
It's funny that you mentioned that because that's the one thing that's kind of kicking my butt right now.
Mm-hmm.
DOF links and VPX is beautiful. Like it's flawless.
Mm-hmm.
Going outside like FX3, FX2, and Future Pinball, for some reason DOF links is, yep. Okay, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yep. There you go. So cool. You actually got a very nice way of doing it. On my my FX3, I have the analog set for the right thumbstick, but I do like your idea
So I'm like just pulling it
of the trigger. Yep.
Because if you do right the trigger, it's like it's sensitive because normally the trigger doesn't trigger, but when you pull it back, then that's when you do it. So I think it emulated more of the thing. But go.
Right.
Go. Okay. There it is.
There you go. There you go. So see, like actually, it's very cool that you just did that. Family Guy is a perfect example of a skill shot plunger. So see, not many people will notice it, but Peter says that was so close, you didn't hit the skill shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but next time you do the plunger, don't pull all the way. You're supposed to hit Peter.
Oh, really?
So go like 3/4 next time, and you're gonna whack him, and he's gonna actually like fall down, and then you get bonus points for hitting the skill shot. So it's pretty cool, like when you get to that, because again, he says it like you just missed. You'll see, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, and you unlocked it. There you go. You learn something new every day.
I have some weird setting where like my button is also a tilt right now, so I gotta change that. So
that's all right. Yeah. But at least you could see it. At least you got proof of concept.
Proof of concept. So I got. I have a working analog plunger, and it's the stock plunger, right? So I mean, I didn't replace anything. If I open this up, you would see it's essentially the stock plunger, the same 4 solenoids, and then what I did was, since I only have 4 solenoids, I mapped the bottom 2 solenoids on the sides to do all the action on the table. So when the back flip, then like those solenoids on the bottom. So I get at least some haptic feedback.
Yeah.
It might be in the right spot, but at the very least that it's still running. So
that's what's cool about DOF link. So you don't need, like, for example, me, I did the max. I did 10 solenoids. So there's 3 in the back, 3 in the middle, and then 4 in the front. But with DOF links, you could make your middle 3 equal the back 3 when it goes off. So it's like you don't need 10. You could get away with using like what you did. You did 4 solenoids, but you still have all the feedback to it. So that's definitely cool. B, I'm going to ask you one question because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that wants to ask it. But what is the height, floor to the edge, like to lockdown bar on yours?
To this right here, is it the lockdown bar? Are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm going to go measure mine.
Let me go get my ruler. All right, for folks that are still hanging out, you're just getting extra jam session.
I went away.
All right.
Where are you at? I'm at 3 feet even on mine.
Yeah, this is 36 inches.
Oh,
feet.
wow.
Yeah. So the height of this is like, it's really good. Like in terms of like the look of it, the way they compact it, kind of like an Arcade1Up. It's like, it's weird that they get the scale looking good, but you can still feel like it's a good height. Like this is 36 inches, like right here.
That's solid. At least they did that right. We don't need no risers. I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
I think I'm confusing it with the Toy Shock. Toy Shock is the one that needs the riser.
Yeah, this Toy Shock one definitely feels a little bit lower, but like I love the look and feel of this. I mean, you can see this right next to my arcade.
No, this is cool.
Marvel vs. Capcom. Like it fits in the 3/4 scale, like arcade perfectly. Like the shape, the bezel. I just need to add a little bit of chrome to this, but like I like. It's only 24 inches. I know it's half.
No, listen, that's honestly. I have a customer that's looking for a 24-inch. But now, what's your back glass? 32.
This is a 22-inch monitor, so it's
22.
It's your DMD. It's essentially.
Okay. Got it. Because that's where like I'm trying to understand the proportions. Because my next one I might aim for like a 43. Yeah. But I'm trying to understand what should be the back glass because I can't put a 32-inch back glass to a 24-inch play field. It probably won't look right.
I mean, this actually looks decent. So 22-inch back glass, 24. Yeah. So, or if you could do like 27, like this play field, like without this black thingy, I think Cool Toy did the proof of concept. You could fit a 32-inch monitor.
Oh wow!
In here, that's the glass is right up to the top, just like yours. So if you stripped it down and did a 32-inch monitor, it will fit perfectly in this like play field right here with the 22-inch in this. So I think there's possibilities of doing that in the future. Yeah. But I don't know. For me, I like the bezeled look of this and. Again, I go back to that phrase, like, it's a lot of work to get it to that level of at that point, I might build my own VPin, like, so like if you're going that level, again, almost everything else is stock except adding in the monitor in the back, but everything else is stock besides, and the monitor, the main monitor I switched out because I had
your playfield.
But everything else is the same. Buttons, the plunger, the DMD, the speakers. I didn't upgrade into the speakers. That's cool. I have haptic feedback for 99 games. And so it's my medium build. It's my 50% build. Is what
I like it though. My big thing that a lot of people do forget, and I don't know if you remember, but some people question me. They're like, Vic, why do you have FX2? So FX2 got ported to FX3, but it's missing 12 tables.
That's right. The football tables and
South Park. South Park was the biggest one.
Plants vs. Zombies, yeah.
Yep, and there you go. Yes, Plants vs. Zombies. And I don't know why they didn't port that, but some people are like, Vic, why do you have FX2? I don't have all FX2 tables, just
the missing
those
one.
12, right.
I got to add that to this list too. That's all.
I like it, man. My big thing, like for you on yours, like if you wanted to get, and then going back to like, is it worth it? It is. I mean, from you're telling me right now, and with FX3 and just doing Pinball FX, you don't need this 120 hertz monitor. It will look good, but you kind of putting in $100 monitor, I mean, it looks awesome.
$40 Facebook Marketplace.
See, that's all it is. That's all you need.
Like, yeah, and it's I mean, I'll put in the specs of it, but it's like it's a Dell monitor, like a Ultra, whatever. I haven't checked the hertz on it, but it plays great. It looks way better than the stock one. I can tell you that much. The stock one is very boxed out, so it looks good.
What's cool is that it looks like there is definitely room in the actual cabinet. I mean, for you to pull off solenoids, if you did want to do contactors like I have, it looks like you have room for it.
I have space. I definitely have the space for it.
It looks like there was a lot of space for it. I think it's awesome.
And the one idea that Cool Toy mentioned that I'm probably going to do is that since this is tall, there's actually space underneath that's hollow that I could actually mount the PC underneath so that inside of my cab is actually like open for me to add solenoids or haptic feedback or force feedback. So I might definitely do that because the other thing is I probably need to do this ASAP. But there's no ventilation in my.
You probably have to put the fan. Yeah,
I had to add a fan on the back, or if I vent it on the bottom, at least it'll have more air, and I'll do that too. So that's probably my next thing. I'm thinking about. Did you do full surround sound feedback too, 7.1? You did. Does that really make a big difference in addition to your contactors?
So, I didn't get surround sound feedback until after my contactor. So right now, I am experiencing everything. Yeah. And it's hard to say, but it does change the game. There are people that argue you don't need contactors. You could do just surround sound feedback. I'm not in that. The big thing about surround sound feedback, just like your outrun cabinet, I think you did that, right? With the exciter?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I did one transducer on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's crazy, and this is where people are like, should I spend the money on it? I have 4 of them. And the real main thing about that surround sound feedback is you could actually feel the ball rolling.
Wow.
Solenoid, you feel the click.
Yeah.
But the feedback, dude, if the ball's going down the right, and I have again 2 speakers front and back right, if it starts at the back, I could gently feel the rumble, and then once it's at my hand, it feels like a real ball. So it's worth it. I mean, you spend, I think it's like what, $200 on. I got the Dayton audios, like I went like all out. So it's definitely worth it.
You know, I'll bring it back under the strip. We know you went all out. There, it's in your face. It's all there.
It's
I'm
all
gonna
out.
like forget just looking at us. Let's just look at this while we talk. Like, I mean,
what's so cool about it though is like, luckily, like the way you're doing it, B, you're starting it right, you're doing it right, but you always have the option to add on.
Yeah,
that's like the great. Yeah, see, Mike saying it's to 100% the ball rolling. You do feel it. It's insane. With those amps, you could bump up, you know, the thing to it. Now there is something called I might be wrong, thump volume, thump. It basically makes your what is that? Would you say? I call it the exciter. It will actually thump to replace a solenoid, but solenoids, it's a whole totally different feel. I definitely like my solenoids.
Nice. All right, I am still getting my feet wet, so I feel like the baby stages of it. Having you in my back corner, talking to you this entire time, the last 2 hours, has been absolutely enlightening. Thank you so much for spending
bro
time with me. I know that we were trying to get together the last couple of weeks.
I know, man. I know. I think now is the perfect time because you did your mod, and now it's like, okay, now we can go with it.
It's good. I definitely I had more conversation to talk about this, and we could just learn from each other. But yeah, anything else you want to promote? Shout out, last things before we kind of end.
Just shout out to like you, everybody that's in the Facebook groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comments. You know, we're all there to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always positive. Yes, we get hit with some negative comments, but you just got to brush it off. But the big thing is that we're all a community. We all help each other out any way we can, and a big thing is like what you're doing, B, like, you know, bringing people in to talk. I think it's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I definitely love the, you know, bringing in and talking to community members. A-Trend Fanatic, it's I just emailed you or just mentioned it's kongzarus.arcade@gmail.com if you want to email me. A-Trend Fanatic is going to help me update my intro, guys. I love my intro. So, you know, it's pretty fun. Maybe I'll add it to the outro. Maybe you can do another one that says leaving the next level or something like that. But Bobby says, great show. Hollywood Polo's been here.
It was a long one. It was a long one. I'm happy that there's still people here.
Mike's been here giving all his feedback. WKRP, Cincy is here. Learned a lot. I appreciate a lot of guys that have been here. Rastan, all that. Oh, somebody asked, hey, did you do a shaker? LEDs?
Rastan. You guys got to do Rastan. Rastan 350, LaunchBox, and Pinball for Life. He does, like, he will actually download new tables and then, like, broadcast it. Yes. Awesome dude. Rastan, I forgot what table I watched, but he did like a popper one, and then I wound up. It was a Sopranos. He did the Sopranos pinup popper version, and then I wound up downloading it. So he's definitely I think he's more advanced than me, but he is making fun of me. I don't have the shaker. I don't have LED addressable. People
know. There's more people I need to talk. I need to talk to Mike. There's some people that gosh, the knowledge is deep, guys.
Yeah, it definitely, like, I'm surprised Rastan's even here. Like, he knows, he's seen you, like, he knows it.
Yes, people are watching me and they're like, this guy is such a noob with his Arcade1Up. And Mike still says that they're toys. I agree to some extent, but I love my toys. I'll just say it that much. I'm all into it. Dan Mendes says this was awesome. Latif said it was awesome. Adam Cal, Earth Monster AZ. Hearts to everyone, guys. We appreciate you guys. We're going to let everybody have a great rest of your evening. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.